Cheers, I do. Buckaroos, we're rocking here at the pub with the Whiskey Whisperer. Hey, so I just got this one. It's brand new. Bottled, produced and bottled by Yah-Key-Da Distillery, Springfield, Missouri. And I hope I got anywhere close to that pronunciation. The good folks that brought us Springfield Brewing Company. Anyway, this is brand new on the shelves, just released this week as I do this video. Yah-Key-Da Bourbon. This is an 80 proof bourbon, 2-year-old bourbon. 70% corn, 25% rye, and 5% barley, I believe. This is their first bourbon out, and I've been told that soon they will have their top shelf bourbon, their double oaked, out soon. But this is what we're able to get to the market right now. As well, I believe they also have a vodka and a rum out as well. So, with further ado, I'm going to get right to the rocks. I poured it neat and rocks. I do want to check the nose on neat here real quick, though. That's an 80 proof. At least 2-year-old, okay? It's a minimum of 2 years old. It does say produced and bottled here in Springfield, okay. So now, without further ado, certainly get some vanilla and oak on the nose, some toasted oak, a little bit of spice. A little bit of clove, specifically, right on the nose. Many small craft distillers are doing their bourbon at 90 proof, some even a little higher. So yeah, I've been drinking mostly 90 proof and up lately. It seems like the Dogmaster products were both at 90 proof. So there's nothing wrong with 80, I just kind of like 90. Especially if you're putting on the rocks, but I understand the 80, it is a little more approachable. Oh, very nice. Okay, so I wasn't getting cinnamon on the nose, but the flavor, I get a lot of cinnamon right in the finish. A lot of big oak and cinnamon in the finish. I know sometimes I do this backwards, but that's what grabbed me was that finish. That lingering spice and that big toasted oak and vanilla right at the end. Brown sugar, though, yeah, a lot of light brown sugar. Not light in flavor, but light in color, because you do get some molasses notes, but it's very light. It's a very light brown sugar note. Going by picking up sticks. I think they're gonna mow anyway. I think they're gonna mow, man. I didn't know they were coming at happy hour. Somebody should have warned me. We're about to hear the weed eater. Anyways, I digress. I feel like I'm getting a hint of green apple in there as well. Maybe some very light, some golden raisin. I'm going to say golden raisin, maybe light underripe plum as well.
How's it going?
How are you, man?
Good. I'm right here. I might place some stuff for you.
Well, that was inconvenient. Hey, man, the hazards, the hazards. No, the guys came to mow, and they decided they wanted to weed eat right here first instead of maybe going somewhere else to start with. How dare them try to do their jobs when I'm trying to have a cocktail anyway? Nah, it's no biggie. It's a new crew, though. See, I know most of the guys, and I wasn't familiar with these guys, so anybody else, they would have went around first and came back around, but hey, man, what are you gonna do? Anyways, I'm probably at there where I like to call a sweet spot. So I get a lot of vanilla early, a lot of toasted oak, and I mentioned some brown sugar, but right now I'm feeling a lot of honey notes. Just a very light sweetness that kind of runs all the way through it. I do feel like I'm picking up some apple notes, very light green apple notes, along with some golden raisin and a very, very underripe plum. And then you get to the finish. I can see I got the camera on. Anyway, oh man. Anyways, yeah, you get to finish. You get a lot of oak, a lot of vanilla. The oak really hits you in a great big way, and you really feel that cinnamon. It's funny on the nose though. I wasn't feeling any cinnamon at all, so I wasn't expecting to taste a lot either. I was feeling mostly a little bit of allspice and clove on the nose, but I got to that finish, and you really feel a lot of cinnamon, a little bit of allspice, but mostly cinnamon right there in the flavors there. So anyway. And I was about to sign off, and I remembered I have some poured neats, and it got me all off my game, but I already started. I got to keep going now, man. We don't do extra takes around here, man. That's not how we do it. So they give you the pronunciation here. Welsh for cheers. Yah-Key-Da. Let me show you that bottle. On the back, they give you a little paragraph that said, inspired by the kindred relationships that make life more extraordinary. Every bottle holds a story, and every glass is an opportunity to gather, reminisce, anticipate, and revel in life's most cheers-worthy moments. More than just a drink. Yah-Key-Da is about honoring our past, present, and future connections. So yeah, I really like what they're trying to do out there. So basically, Springfield Brewing Company bought the space that was Missouri Spirits, and then they've sort of enhanced it, which is now Springfield Brewing Company's The Cellar. And then they put together this new line of spirits that will be available for cocktails at the event center, but you can also buy the bottles. And so they've just became available this week, and I wanted to be one of the first to buy that bourbon. However, in the interest of full disclosure, I didn't buy that. I was going to buy the bottle. I had sent Todd a message trying to get some, info, mash bill, etc., age, and he told me he had a bottle for me. So, just in the interest of full disclosure. So, not surprisingly, it is more aromatic neat. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I get a lot of vanilla on the nose, a lot of warming vanilla, a little bit of honey. It's funny though, much like when I had it on the rocks though, I am getting some spice on the nose, but I'm not feeling the cinnamon. I'm feeling more of the clove. Maybe a hint of allspice as well. The mouthfeel is very nice. At 80 proof, it doesn't feel watery, which is nice. Oh wow, that's not bad at all. I'll take another drink. I'll go over some notes with you, man. Anyway. The first sweetness I noticed right away when I had it on the rocks was that brown sugar. But drinking it neat, I really feel the honey in a great big way. I do feel some light brown sugar, just a hint of molasses. But yeah, it's a smoother, lighter, more subtle sweetness like honey. And then you get to that big, that beautiful toasted oak finish, and you do feel a spice. And the cinnamon does come into play, but I also feel a lot of clove, a little bit of allspice as well. The fruit notes. Yeah, again, I still feel like I'm picking up some green apple, some golden raisin, some a very, again, very underripe plum notes. Whereas typically you might find dark fruit. I'm not getting the dark fruit as much, but I am picking up some fruit notes. Because I'm feeling more, it feels more like a golden raisin than a raisin. So although it is a young bourbon, it is clearly drinkable neat. It will probably be more nuanced the older it gets, and I'm looking very much forward to trying that double oak version. However, the however is, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this whiskey. It drinks fine. It drinks very fine neat. There's nothing wrong with drinking this neat. However, it runs under $25 a bottle, so at that price, you're not going to be afraid to cocktail or highball it. And in that vein, I mean, I used to be a highball drinker in my 20s and into my early 30s. I don't do that quite as much anymore, but every once in a while I'm reminiscing. So, and I do have some club soda. In fact, I picked up some club soda with that in mind to do a classic bourbon soda. So there you go. Cheers. Yeah, you know, we really feel those honey notes right at the end. It's funny, but I picked up a lot of those sons of bitches. I picked up a lot of cinnamon finish on the rocks. I'm not picking up quite as much, but I am getting some, but a lot of allspice, a lot of clove, and I'm working through the interference of them sons of bitches anyway. Cheers. Cheers, they do buckaroos, and now they're moving on. Time that on, I was 5 minutes off, one way or the other. Anyway, yeah, I decided I wanted to do a highball with this whiskey because I felt like a highball kind of whiskey. For me, the classic highball was bourbon and soda, which is club soda, which is what I've got here. I've used 3 ounces of the, I'm sorry, 1.5 ounces of the bourbon, 3 ounces of club soda. Typically served in a cylindrical glass, filled with ice, and then your whiskey, and then topped with your mixer. I don't like a lot of ice, so this is as close as I had to a cylindrical glass, but it's about the size of a short highball glass, so I figured it'll work. I should have done it about, I should have been 1.5, but I added that extra little bit. Yeah, and I shouldn't have. I really shouldn't have. But yeah, so anyway, like a strong drink. So highballs usually come in short and tall, and there was always a misconception that a tall highball would somehow had more alcohol. No, a tall highball actually just had more mixer. You can order a double short or a double tall. But so I always preferred a short because I didn't want more mixer. But a lot of folks just assumed because they were ordering tall, they were getting more whiskey. No, you're not. You're getting more soda pop. That's what you're getting if you order a tall, unless you order a double. But you can order a double short. The only issue with ordering a double short is you're probably going to get just a splash of whatever else. But that's typically how I drank them back in the day anyway. Yeah, it's been so long since I made one of these. I forgot. I really should just do 1.5 to 1.5, but nevertheless, it's not bad. The whiskey does hold up. It is perfect for this capacity. At some point, I will probably try it in a cocktail of some form. I don't know. I don't really see this as a Manhattan whiskey. Even though it's got 25% rye, I like a higher rye for a Manhattan. Possibly an old-fashioned, but I really see it as a whiskey sour. So I'll probably do my homemade sour mix and make a whiskey sour out of that at some point. But we thought we'd start with a highball, so there you go. My dad's highball was he drank 3 whiskeys and only 3. Jim Beam, Wild Turkey, and Jack Daniels. That's all he drank. However, keeping in mind that the Jack Daniels my dad drank isn't what passes for Jack Daniels now. Now, I'm not saying the recipe changed, but they have added more water over the years. Up until about the mid-80s, it was a 90 proof bourbon. Then it became an 86. And then, I don't know, somewhere it became just an 80 proof. So, yeah, it has been watered down a little bit over years, but the price hasn't been. And that's kind of my issue with Daniels, is the whiskey's been watered down, but the price hasn't been. But Dad drank either Jim Beam, Wild Turkey, or Jack Daniels and water. And in Dad's glass, he would put, you know, however many ice cubes would fit in here, fill the bourbon up to about there, and then a little extra water in there. And that's how Dad drank his cocktail. Now, back up till about a decade ago, I made mine very similar. But as I've gotten older, I measure, yeah. I typically like to use a 1.5 ounce or jigger glass. Although I have several just 1 ounce glasses, I even have a few 2 ounces, but I typically like to use that 1.5 ounce. Gives me about the right amount, especially if I'm trying something new. It works out perfect. So there you go. Hey, that's my Yah-Key-Da trilogy. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer. Hey man, we face obstacles and we persevere. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, whiskey evangelist, full of a whiskey drinker, pervert wisdom and all around good guy. Cheers.